is Milana Meisner. I'm an environmental education major here at Stevens Point, and I'm doing the practicum program here at Schmeeckle. To start the program, I would like you all to close your eyes and picture in your head a location that is important to you. This could be like a child's home, a grandparent's house, maybe even your first apartment. And in your head, can you like think through what this place looks like, maybe what it smells like, the people or animals you might live with, and how that's important. Once you have a minute to think about this or so, you can open your eyes and share out what you thought about. Would anybody like to share the location they thought about?
My family's cabin up north.
Anybody else? Yes? I thought of my childhood home. So just like people, animals also have places they call home. One of these places would be oak trees. Oak trees are a keystone species here in Schmeeckle, meaning that a lot of animals rely on them. Oak trees support over 668 different vertebrates, which means that it's animals and birds and stuff like that, not including like fungi or insects. An important part of the oak tree is its roots. The roots help hold together the environment, both with holding together soil, helping prevent runoff, filtering water, and they can also help support the burrows and homes of some animals that live in the roots, like salmon or frogs near banks, and even ants and other insects that have their tunnels in the roots and in the surrounding soil. I'm going to hand out a piece of paper, and each of you, if you'd like, can draw the roots and the ecosystem that live in them. This should take about like a couple minutes. Do you want to color?
I actually thought I found a species in a different location. So it's a spotted salmon.
That's a great example.
They live in Wisconsin.
They do. Do you guys want to draw?
I'm so sorry.
Good job with roots.
So I'll give you guys like 4 or 5 minutes. Or raise your hand if you're ready to continue. Is there any animals you can think of if you're not drawing? I'm sorry.
You gotta speak up a little bit.
Is there any animals you can think of that would live in the roots of the oak tree? Alright, we'll come back to that then.
Okay.
What do we draw?
You're drawing an elderberry tree.
You get a different pencil.
What are you guys working on?
I drew a tiger salamander.
That's really cool. Good example. What are you working on?
Do you have any animals that live by trees?
I think I'm gonna make a scrubland like that was in Schmeeckle. We're gonna have a lot of berries. And there's a bush that I'm gonna plant that has over 100 birds that eat seeds.
Alright, are you going to draw that? You can draw with the oak tree if you want.
Maybe I'll draw on the back side.
Do you know how many species the oak tree supports?
Oh, I like your drawing.
650.
good examples. So once you guys feel ready, feel free to like let me know somehow. You can raise your hand or say you're ready.
For yeah, well, this is supposed to be a good kind of cover.
So you all feel about ready now? You can keep working while I talk if you like.
Who's first? Dude?
What don't have I? Maybe
Um, has everybody finished their drawings? All right. So would anybody like to share what they drew?
I'm still working on it.
I'm
trying a lot.
Did you drew a bird? That's a great example of animals that live in the oak trees. So how did you guys include the roots in your drawing if you did?
Squiggly lines.
So roots actually on oak trees can be up to 2 to 3 times the length and size of the canopy of the oak tree. So they're very important in offering structure to the oak tree so it doesn't just topple over. It's kind of like a mental image is if you took the canopy and turned it upside down on the ground, it can be extremely expansive underneath the soil. It's kind of like the foundation of where we build off of this. So now that we know about the root system of the oak tree, we're going to continue to talk about the trunk of the tree. So we're going to go for a short walk. So if everyone can put on any winter clothes that you want to put on, we're just going to walk a short distance down the trail this way. Before we leave, if anybody has to use the bathroom is right out the door this way. You can wait for that if you need. About some of the interactions that you have either in the place you live or that the animals in Schmeeckle might have with each other. And we're going to walk down the trail not too far this way. So I'm going to pass around this section of log, and I want you to look to see what evidence of organisms you can see on here. So I'm going to start on this side. You can take and pass it around if you want, or
Yeah. Hold it.
Lots of stuff inside.
you can look at the
first
bark
layer.
also and different parts of it. So
That looks like maybe a bark.
you can also look at the stump if you're not currently looking at the log. So so this surface is called a cross section, which means you can see all the rings on the stump. And in this, there's the bark, which is the part on the outside.
I think some bark feels when you got this one.
Yeah, you just kind of look. And after the bark, there's the phloem, the cambium, and then the sapwood, and then heartwood, and then the pith. And in the trunk part of the tree, bugs will typically grow in the 2 layers behind the bark, which is the phloem and the column. And fungi and lichen will grow on the outside, which is the bark. So oak trees don't just support stuff with its roots or branches, it's also just in the bark and the tree trunk. There's also many birds that are called cavity-nesting birds, which live in the tree. When you think of the word cavity, what do you think of typically?
Cavity?
Like in a
Like
tree, right? It's kind of the same idea with like cavity nesting bird. It's a hole within the bark that the bird's in. So here we have this log, right? And this is a woodpecker made this cavity in the bark. If you want, we can pass. Can you look at this? You want to see it?
I see a nest. It's
And
like
I'm gonna pass this around, and you can see the cavity which the woodpecker carved into the trunk of the tree.
I know one thing. Schmeeckle Reserve has the most woodpeckers I've ever seen.
There are a lot of woodpeckers. And a lot of birds will use these cavities that the woodpecker left behind. For instance, this is a downy woodpecker. It looks very similar to a pileated woodpecker, which looks very similar in the coloration.
I've never
But
seen a pileated woodpecker. My mom's seen one at Schmeeckle.
Thank you. But the pileated woodpecker is much bigger than the downy woodpecker. The downy woodpecker is usually like 9 inches long, while the pileated can be like up to 19 inches long. And there's other animals that will live in these cavities. For instance,
Like mice and squirrels.
yes, like squirrels and mice, as well as raccoons and many types of birds. Like a wren will live in there. Chickadees. Nuthatches. This is a white-breasted nuthatch.
A bunch of nuthatches right here.
Yeah. And bluebirds.
I've never seen a bluebird either.
You gotta keep your eye out. You might see some.
My grandma's seen one at the lake house.
Really? The downy woodpecker is kind of like a subleaser of the oak trees, since they're also a keystone species. Since they make these homes for the other animals in Schmeeckle. Which the other animals in Schmeeckle will use. Now that we, now that we know a little bit about what lives in the trunk of the tree, we're going to move on to the branches. But before we do that, I'm going to invite you guys to look around for acorn caps, because I'm going to teach you an activity you can do with them when we get back. So feel free to step off the trail, but be mindful of the wildlife and the plants that are growing, anything like that. Acorn caps can be used as like a makeshift whistle if you don't have one. It's very useful if you get lost in the woods and you need a way to like call for help, because it's a lot louder than just yells. So I'm going to teach you all how to do this. So if you want to stand like so you can see here, you want to take your thumbs and put them in a V shape on the acorn cap like this. So I'm going to walk around and show you all. It might not work.
Put your thumbs like this. You put your thumbs like this. And the card is a little V at the top. And a little V.
Yeah, so you have just a little bit there?
Yeah.
Oh, that is so cool.
Hold your hands like this.
It's a little hard to do.
You can adjust it if you and then you want to blow over your knuckles, like with your lips on your knuckles and blow. So it sounds kind of like this. And you can move your hands and adjust it if you don't.
It is super difficult.
The guy always lost my cup. Does the guy might not have a whistle anymore?
We might not have a whistle.
No, I know.
Part of the tree that there's also something called coarse crucial part of the oak tree, since many animals will use the tree even when it's like no longer alive. Small rodents and other small animals will use the logs that are down, kind of like highways through the forest that connects them to their trees and stuff. Because when you like walk on grass, you know how this makes a lot of noise? If you're walking on top of a hard surface like a down tree, that's a lot quieter. So it can help animals avoid predators by being super quiet, or vice versa, help a predator be quieter. So now we're going to head back towards the visitor center, and we have one more subsection of lesson and an activity at the end. As we walk, we're going to turn to a partner and talk about your favorite food.
Warren Buffalo.
And they meant little,
You brought your family with you?
and they meant little bullhead. It was so tiny.
How tiny?
Like this small. It could be this small with its whole body tiny. Yeah. I can't. Its head was like this small. Its head was only this small.
I have any Bible?
Yeah, it did.
Are you doing it in the
It was like the smallest little cat.
My phones don't make a beat.
It kind of helps.
Where'd it go?
Out from under
It kind of helps turn your hands a little bit.
the little
So it's like bring it out to the side and then do that.
Yeah, but my phone's not.
So it's
Sounds
so you
like
turn
you.
it like this, right? You just turn your hand out
Maybe
a little bit.
teensy weensy.
Then you see how
Then
that's
it darted in when
Also sounds like you dart around.
You start
Don't
with
shoot.
Yeah, just that. I don't want to go over your knuckles.
A little bit.
Try to like bring your lips like right up against your knuckles. So like, if you line up your knuckles, you like kind of in your mouth like slightly. Or just All right, if everyone's ready, I'm gonna continue to the next part. So, what did you talk about what your favorite food was when you walked? Yes,
I said spaghetti with chili on top of it.
that's a good option. Yeah. Anybody else have a favorite food? You don't have to raise your hand. You just say it if you want.
goes the mac and cheese. That makes Skinner.
Oh. That's a good one. So, kind of like how people have a favorite food, so do a lot of the animals in Schmeeckle. And for many of those animals, acorns are their favorite food. Acorns grow on oak trees, and they grow in a boom and bust cycle, which means that there either is a lot of them or very little. This is so that even to kind of like overwhelm the animals that eat them. So all the oak trees will produce acorns at once. And even if the animals eat as many as they want, there will be still like a few left to grow into oak trees. So they're a great food source. Anything from deer to even some types of birds will eat these acorns. In addition to the acorns, the flowers on the oak tree are really crucial for many species, like pollinators and some birds. If you don't know what an oak tree flower looks like, they look like this. They're the part hanging down right here. I'm going to pass this picture around because I think the shape of the flower is really interesting and not like a typical flower looks like. So I'll start over here. If we pass it in this way, that'd be great. Thank you, Addison.
It's this part.
So in addition to the flowers, the leaves of the oak tree are very useful, and they're kind of like the penthouse suite of the oak tree because they're in the top of the oak tree and it's like in the canopy. There's over 550 types of caterpillars that live in the oak tree's leaves, which is 90% of the caterpillars in North America. It's like a huge number. These caterpillars are crucial for like birds that live in the oak trees, that nest in the branches, as well as other animals that would like eat these caterpillars like squirrels or even raccoons. So the oak tree, in addition to providing habitat, it also provides a number of different resources of food for animals in Schmeeckle. Once the leaves fall to the ground, they offer great habitat for invertebrates. How I mentioned before, they're like the small, like bugs and stuff like that, as well as for many amphibians, like salamanders and frogs, to hibernate or brumate, which is what amphibians do, which is similar to hibernation, throughout the winter. Can any of you think of another animal that would use the leaves litter for hibernation? Yeah, squirrels make their nests, which are kind of like big balls of leaves for hibernation, and some other animals will use like the leaves as like insulation material. So now that we've gone over some of the types of ways animals will live in an oak tree, I'm having an activity for y'all, which is like a Guess Who activity. Do you guys have ever played the game Guess Who before? So basically how this activity works is I'm going to pass out this sheet, and you want to, on the sheet there's like 12 different animals, and you play this game with a partner, and each of you think of the animal, and based on yes or no questions, you try to guess what the other animal was thinking of is. So I'm passing around this game, and if anyone can find a partner or a group of 3, either one works. And I'll give you guys like 5 minutes or 10 minutes to play this game.
Okay. So, we each pick like so if you have the you don't say it, and then you'll ask a question. So, does your animal have feathers? And we should say yes or no.
Ready?
Then you keep asking questions until you guess. And then once you think you know it, then you say,
does your animal have furs?
No.
You asked.
yes.
Oh,
About like, does your animal have a bushy tail?
Does your animal have feathers? No.
Yes.
Now you ask her a question.
Does your animal have
Is your
fur?
I would
Do you think you give an animal?
Yes.
yeah.
Does your animal have
Does it
fur?
fly?
No.
Does it fly?
I found another camouflage creature.
Really?
It was a fish.
Oh my goodness.
So how did your games go? Good? Anybody want to share out any observations they made about the animals we talked about? Any key characteristics that help you guess what character you were talking about?
They asked if it was a male.
Find the fish.
Yeah, that's a good one. So we talked about today was going from the roots, the trunk, and the branches of the tree, and how those elements of the oak tree help provide structure and a home for many animals in Schmeeckle. I hope you had fun at this program. If you have any feedback for me, please let me know at the end. But thank you for coming.